Josh McAllister.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I'm delighted to have the chance to speak in this important debate on rural affairs, and I want to focus my remarks on farming specifically. West Cumbria is home to hundreds of farmers, primarily cattle and upland sheep farmers. Sheep are ubiquitous in Cumbria. For every Cumbrian, there are 5 sheep. And farmers are rightly very proud of our herdies, rough fells and swale dales, as evidenced by the closely fought competitions at many local agricultural shows. I've kept the peace by managing to avoid taking part in any judging to date. I want to make 3 straightforward points in this debate. The first is about the relationship between farming and nature recovery itself. I want us, as a government, to back farmers, especially in iconic landscapes like the Western Lakes, who are leading nature recovery, not as an alternative to food security, but as a prerequisite for it. Across 40 square miles of Upper Wasdale and Ennerdale fells and commons, farmers have banded together to form West Lakeland Community Interest Company. Will and Louise Rawlings, Richard Maxwell, Julius and Kirsten Mandwell, Kevin and Yvonne Holliday and their daughter Vicky, Sue Lister and many others are working together in an innovative way to ensure the long-term stability of traditional nature-friendly farming and land management. My constituency is also home to the Wild Ennerdale Partnership, one of the UK's largest rewilding projects. The vision is to protect this remote valley and to do it with farmers in partnership. It is a breathtaking place to visit, so please don't share that secret beyond these 4 walls. People like Rachel Oakley, Gareth Browning, Richard and his Galloways, and all the volunteers and partner staff from the National Trust, Forestry England, United Utilities and Natural England have made it a reality. I want the government to do more in the future to empower these models of nature recovery in partnership with farmers. The second point is about the phasing out of the basic payments system, Madam Deputy Speaker. Despite the incredibly difficult financial backdrop, I welcome the £5 billion commitment made by the government to support farmers over the next 2 years, including the largest amount ever for sustainable food production and nature protection. This contrasts sharply with the chaotic changes to payments and the growth of a highly bureaucratic system under the last government. I have heard the concerns from farmers about the phasing out of the delinked basic payment scheme. I want the government to ensure that the future sustainable farming incentive and the countryside stewardship rates mitigate the impact on farmers who had planned for delinked payments to the end of 2028. And the third point is about inheritance tax changes. Many farmers have expressed to me their anger about wealthy individuals buying up agricultural land to avoid paying inheritance tax, and how this is forcing up land prices so young farmers can no longer afford it. The government's changes seek to address this and are likely to affect only a very small number of estates in my constituency. I know ministers actively engage with farmers, and on this side of the House, we are very proud that Labour now represents many of the UK's rural communities. I was almost intervened on by the Shadow Secretary of State earlier, who wanted to trade sizes of majorities, and I held back from making a further intervention on her at that point, so I'll ignore the hectoring. I would like to ask ministers to consider some form of transitional support for those who will be passing down their farms in the coming 7 years, who may now be caught out by changes announced in the budget. Finally, I'd like to invite the Minister to come to West Cumbria and meet with some of our brilliant farmers, as the Secretary of State has already done, and see firsthand the really important work they're doing and the important place they have in the fabric of our community. Thank you.
Helen Morgan.
Madam